It's Tuesday, March 29th. Welcome to the Daily Shed. Hello friends, welcome to the shed. Today is, it's beautiful outside, number one. Yesterday's topic was essential woodworking tools, and I may have taken that question a little too literally. Maybe. I don't know. Thank you to everybody who liked and commented and subscribed and all that good stuff. And who said, yeah, okay, those are the tools you need, but okay, what do you actually need, right? And so I tweeted the original suggester of yesterday's topic, and he was like, yeah, I kind of meant like next level, that's obvious stuff, a hammer and a saw. So I had a topic picked for today, but I'm just going to scrap it, and we're going to go straight into part 2. So this video is what's next. Now before I get to that, I want to say thank you everybody who suggested ideas. I've seen some really fun ideas that came up today, or maybe it was last night, like the world's biggest dogs or the world's tastiest snacks, stuff like that that's completely out there. I'm totally down for doing stuff like that. I don't want this show to be strictly an advice show or just me coming down here and telling you how great I am. Okay, that doesn't interest me at all. I want to personally learn in this experience as well as help you learn something so we can totally do fun stuff like that. And I will look into it. And I will research those topics and we can discuss it. But for the sake of getting this out of the way, today and probably tomorrow I'm going to do this tool series, like a 3-part series of the essential or the basic woodworking tools and their uses and stuff like that. Okay. So, we know you need a hammer, we know you need a saw. What's next after you've got those basic hand tools and you built the little garden bench out of some 2x4s that you found in your neighbor's trash? What's next is probably some upgrades, power tools. The first thing I would suggest is a drill. If you can't afford a cordless drill, that's fine. Get a corded drill. They do the same function, okay? And if you're working in a small space like this, it doesn't really matter if it's corded or not. I have cordless because I like the portability. I use them all over the house and in the yard and all that sort of thing. This is a, it's my brand. This is a Ryobi, which is Home Depot. I think it's like an exclusive. I don't know if it's their brand, but this is kind of a mid-range. It's not pro level, but it's serviceable, and it's got lithium batteries, which is one thing that I love. They're super lightweight and last for a long time. When it comes to buying a drill, buy the best one you can afford. And that's not to say that there's not a place for cheap drills. There absolutely is. In fact, this is a driver which uses nickel cadmium or NiCad batteries. This thing, this is just some generic off-brand available at my local, I don't even know what the brand is because I tore it off, my local hardware store. The drill version of this is like $20 with the battery and everything. Perfectly fine. I used generic drills for almost my whole life. I've only had this drill for about a year just because my other generic drill finally died and I just thought I'd upgrade. So a drill. That's your fastener upgrade. So you've upgraded from saws to screws, as well as now you can drill holes. You're going to need a drill index. This I picked up, I think, at Ace Hardware or something like that. It's a 7-bit. These are basically the sizes you'll need for woodworking, unless you really want to do some large doweling or something like that. In that case, you want to get a Forstner bit set because they're super fun and easy to use. This was like $6 or something. It says metal and wood on it. I wouldn't drill metal with these, but it works perfectly fine in wood and hardwoods. So you're going to get a drill and a drill index. The next thing I would suggest is a circular saw. So I showed you this yesterday. Circular saw is an upgrade to the hand saw. And the first thing you're going to build with this is going to turn this into a table saw, an upside down table saw. So you're going to buy a circular saw. Again, buy the best one you can afford. If you think this is something that you want to do, buy something that lasts. My other circular saw is this behemoth. This is a Craftsman, Sears Craftsman electric hand saw. Is there a date on this thing? No. This was my dad's, possibly older than that, from the 60s maybe. I don't know. It's super heavy. The trigger finally gave up on us last year, so I need to fix this. But it works great. If you buy something generic, it's not going to last as long. Just expect that, right? So, once you've got your circular saw, the first thing you're going to build is a jig. Remember we talked about jigs the other day? You're going to build a jig. And that jig is just simply 2 boards. Now, I threw this together in like 2 seconds the other day just because I needed to make a quick cut. You're going to want to make yours a little bit better out of better materials. Essentially, this is a straight board. You need to know that this face is perfectly straight, and a waste board that's attached to it. When you first attach this waste board is going to be wider. You're going to take your circular saw, you're going to put it on the waste board, and you're going to rip this board lengthwise, just like that. So now you know that if you butt your saw up against this backer board and run it down the length of this board, it's going to cut right on this line. So if I have a cut that I need to make across here, I can put this down on my line and then just run my saw. Done. So you've basically turned your circular saw into effectively a table saw for ripping plywood and whatever else. I would suggest if you're going to build, when you build this, don't use solid wood here, use plywood because it resists expansion and contraction. If you take your piece of plywood, you're going to have that factory straight edge. Just cut a strip, bolt it down to the sheet of plywood, run your saw down it, and you're done. You have a nice sled that will help you make straight, accurate cuts every time with a circular saw. There's no need to start off with a table saw. Table saws are a specialty tool that require, if not a little bit of training, they definitely require you to learn on your own how to use them without getting injured. It's very easy to injure yourself on a table saw. Next up is another saw, and that's going to be a jigsaw. A jigsaw is essentially a handheld version of a bandsaw. This saw punches this blade up and down very fast. You can make curved cuts, you can make freehand cuts, you can make straight cuts. You can also do the same trick. You could butt it up against something and run the saw down a fence to get a straight cut. These are going to be used for doing inside cuts. Say you have a board and you want to put a hole in the middle for a doorknob or whatever. The only way you can do that is with a saw that can plunge through the wood. With something like a circular saw, you're only going to be able to make a straight cut, or a handsaw. So drill out a hole, put this blade in there, and then you can cut out the center of a board. So 2 saw upgrades, 1 fastener upgrade, and the final suggested tool is going to be some sort of finishing upgrade. Like a random orbit sander. This is again a Ryobi brand random orbit sander. Not cordless this time because the cordless one is like twice the price. Corded. You can pick these up for like 20 bucks at Walmart. The Black & Decker one works fine. I also suggest the Black & Decker mouse or any mouse shaped sander. It basically is like a pointy bit so you can get the point down in the corners. Beautiful sanders. These are typically have hook and loop attachment, so you can put all kinds of different paper grits on here and you can do some wonderful finish sanding. So that is my suggestion for the 4 basic tool upgrades. You've got 2 cutting upgrades, 1 fastening upgrade, and a sanding upgrade. If you buy the generic versions of these things, you could get all of them for under $100. And they'll last you for a couple years. And that's great. If you feel like you want to continue with the hobby, you can buy better ones. Or if you know you're going to continue with the hobby, or you're a homeowner and you know you're going to have a bunch of upcoming repairs, buy the good stuff. You'll use it. and it'll last. Beyond that, the next biggest thing that every woodworker needs tons of is clamps. You've seen my wall of clamps back here. I have spring clamps. I have F-style clamps. I have whatever the hell these clamps are called. I have this Craig clamp. Clamps are important. I have bar clamp. These you can make any length by changing out this pipe. I have C-clamps somewhere. They're in a drawer in my toolbox, I think. Every woodworker needs lots and lots of clamps. And that helps you, for instance, the box I showed you yesterday, I could have clamped this together without nailing it and then run screws in here to make it even more sturdy, but I didn't need to do that. So those are going to be your basics. Oh, and a square. I should have said this yesterday. Get a square. They're like $4. You can buy one of these speed squares for probably less than that if you really... It's going to help you make sure everything is straight. That should have been in the hand tool section. So those are your basic power tools. With this set of tools, this is what I grew up with. I grew up with a circular saw, a saber saw, and a drill. And I made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of projects with those, from chairs to go-karts. I made a lot of downhill carts. I lived on a hill, so I'd make like downhill carts with lawnmower wheels and ride them down the yard. Tree houses, craft stuff, little chairs, little doll house type things, bird feeders. I mean, hundreds of things with just this essential set of tools. We didn't have a table saw or my chop saw or the band saw or the jointer or the drill press when I was growing up. I just used this basic set of tools to make a world of things. So that's my introduction to the next stage. Tomorrow, like I said, we'll come back and we'll do the next level up. And there's even a level beyond that I'm not anywhere near, or nor will I probably ever be, because I don't feel the need. I'm not a professional woodworker. So unless I was doing stuff manufacturing on a large scale, I wouldn't need it. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow will be all about the rest of my tools in my shop and why I have them, because I only buy what I need. Thank you everybody for the suggestions. Thank you everybody for the comments. Please keep those coming. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer them on Friday. I have something a little goofy planned for Friday, depending on how much stuff, or if anything, I get to put on the wall. And depending how many questions you have, we might do something a little different. So keep it coming. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.